Did you know that your morning routine depends on one food item? Can you guess what it is? It begins with a C. Nope, not coffee, corn. Now you might think I must be pretty corny to say that, but it's true. Think about it. The blanket on your bed is made from the fibers of corn proteins, and the toilet paper, toothpaste, and facial cream you use probably has cornstarch in it. And the breakfast foods you eat, like bacon, cereal, even eggs, all one way or another, come from corn. Even your gas-filled car contains part ethanol from corn. America doesn't run on Dunkin'. It runs on corn, literally. Like me, you might be pretty shocked to find out how essential corn is to our daily lives. In New Jersey, we don't often think of corn when it comes to our household items and the food in our pantry because we don't see it. In US grocery stores, there are over 4,000 food products which contain some form of corn. But most of us don't drive past miles of cornfields like my mother did when she grew up in the country. So corn is an afterthought. Corn is sneaky because it is hidden behind long scientific names like polydextrose, sucrose, maltodextrin, and of course, the golden liquid that made our childhood sweet, corn syrup, or high fructose corn syrup for all those Coca-Cola lovers out there. Now believe me, corn is not necessarily horrible for you. I love biting into a grilled corn on the cob, slathered in butter with some salt and pepper sprinkled on top. The problem is that we consume too many unhealthy byproducts of corn in our diet. And guess what? These byproducts are very unhealthy for us because they contain a lot of artificial sugars. For example, corn-fed meat decreases important fatty acids that keep our brains healthy. The National Institute of Health found that high fructose corn syrup in sodas and other popular treats heighten our blood sugar levels, cause brain fog, and increase our risk of type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, and heart disease. It is freaky when you look into the numbers. Just one bushel of corn is responsible for producing around 21 pounds of chicken, and it sweetens over 400 cans of soda. The reason corn is everywhere, whether we like it or not, is because it is cheap and widely available in the US. Now, this topic fascinates me for several reasons, but mostly because of my grandpa Jerry. He was a retired dairy farmer in upstate New York, and he is currently a pretty spunky 93-year-old. Over 50 years ago, he understood the benefits of using hay and grass to feed his livestock. He was the original grass-fed organic farmer, the OG, if you will. And yes, at his age, he's still driving and still trying to change the world. Unfortunately, not everyone has access to quality and ethical meat and dairy products, like the ones produced on my grandfather's farm. Corn is subsidized by our government, which makes it dirt cheap, and it is an effective fattening agent for livestock, which makes grass-fed products more expensive and therefore less available. When I was in middle school, I would volunteer at a local food drive after school. One day, these two ladies came in, and a few minutes into organizing a few cans of SpaghettiOs, one of them noted how much artificial sugar was in the spaghetti. My 12-year-old self was shocked. How could spaghetti have sugar in it? I went home with an uneasy feeling in my stomach. That night, I couldn't go to sleep because I was wondering why we're offering people such unhealthy food. Why didn't we have any better options when our food drive was the only access hundreds of people had to breakfast, lunch, and dinner? This year, that event resurfaced in my memory while I was reading the book Fast Food Nation by Eric Schlosser in my English class. Part of the book exposes how much corn rules the US agricultural system and its effect on our farmland. Besides the countless preservatives and sweeteners added to our diet, corn has a detrimental environmental impact. Think of the size of California. Now imagine if the entire area of that state was dedicated to just growing corn. It's called the Western Corn Belt, and it is where most of our corn is grown in the US. That huge area of corn requires large amounts of fresh water to be used. To be exact, 5.6 cubic miles per year of fresh water is taken from our lakes and rivers around the nation to be supplied to growing cornfields. And over 5 million tons of chemical fertilizers and manure containing high amounts of nitrogen are used to help corn grow. The problem with this system is that the nitrogen from the fertilizers are contaminating our nation's waterways. This decreases essential oxygen in the water. This poisons our ecosystems. In the Gulf of Mexico, there's a 7,000 cubic square mile area called the Dead Zone, spanning along the Mississippi River to Texas, where no animals can survive due to nitrogen poisoning from our cornfields. And it only keeps growing larger today. Look, I know these numbers can feel pretty overwhelming, but we can't pretend that this crisis doesn't exist. Corn is damaging our quality of life. It affects the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the quality of food we put into our one and only bodies. I know that most of you are not going to run out into the street to protest to stop these unsustainable practices, but you can always choose what products you put into your grocery cart. Choose grass-fed and finished meat and shop local if you can. My goal is to help my local food drive find a way to safely supply fresh produce and clean ingredient food. Because I believe no matter who you are or how much money you make, you deserve to live a long and healthy life, just like my Grandpa Jerry. Thank you.